I
Good
really
morning, sir.
appreciate I really appreciate your time because I understand people like you how busy you can be. Getting your time can be a challenge, but I really appreciate that when I make the call, you responded as quickly as possible. That is
Yes.
quite interesting because I know many a times academians, our lives can be something else. We are forever busy, busy,
Absolutely.
busy, busy, busy. So, but the way you're able to respond to the call, that is quite encouraging and quite appreciating. Thank you so much for that.
You're very much welcome, sir.
So, um, Academic Corner with Josh is a platform that strive to show to give voice to academians because most times our our life is always behind the scene of a paper, writing without necessarily bringing out our voice to the fore to see for people to see the individuals who are making this who are writing this all these things. So, but academic corner with Josh try to bridge that very gap between what we have on paper, our writings, and our voice, in order for to sell ourselves, to market ourselves, to get connected, and so on and so forth. So that is what the platform work to achieve. So, and based on that, um, I have in order to make our discussion to be interactive, we're gonna start by um from you letting the audience, letting everyone to know who you are. Okay. So what's your name? And your title, because I know there is a very big title that everyone that are into academia are aspiring to have. So please, can you give us that very be proud of it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. And once again, I'm very grateful to be here because the fact is we really need to have these a lot to help a lot of academic minds get to put a face on what they are doing, just like what you said. So my name is Joshua Oyetade. That's my full name. That's the A behind my name. And my surname is Oyetade. And I'm from the family of three, a very academic family. My mom happens to be a teacher before. My father happens to be an associate professor of New Testament theology. And I'm the second born of my family. I have a sister ahead and a sister behind. So that's who I am. And I did my PhD in the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology in Arusha, in Tanzania. And that was where I was conferred with the doctoral degree in material science and engineering. That was 2025. Yes, 2025 precisely. Is it August 2025? So that's all about me for now. Except if there's sorry, I'm married. Yeah, absolutely. I shouldn't forget.
Very
Absolutely.
important. Very
I'm married
important.
married to a very beautiful woman and a godly woman as well, full of understanding. Her name is Rachel. She runs an NGO
Wow.
called Love Up, where she gets to relate with a lot of youths regarding relationships. She's a relationship coach, a life coach, and she's been doing that for a couple of times, and it's been amazing. And she's also um, a pastor, and then I'm also a pastor myself. I got into ministry very young. Yes, I started preaching at the age of 7 and got
Wow.
fully ordained as a pastor. Been pastoring for more than 7 years now back in
Wow.
Nigeria. So it's always a privilege to bridge the gap between science and theology put together. So yeah, that's pretty much all about me. And I have currently a getting to 3 month old baby named Evangel, very energetic like me. Yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
that's all about me.
wow. 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 Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you
Wow,
so
that's
much.
quite that is quite interesting. I know, coming from a family of academians or scholars. That's great. That's great. Would you say that from the family you are coming from? Congratulations with your new baby, and thanks to your wife for taking care of the baby and taking care of you, because
Absolutely.
she's doing well. I must comment on that. I must comment on that. So looking at the family you came from, and will you think having that kind of background also inspired you to where you are today in terms of getting to the far of being a PhD holder in being a PhD holder? Do you think family played a role?
Absolutely. I would say that the family I came from played the 80% of the role of the two things I've been very much involved, which has to do with academic ministry, the church thing.
Mm.
My father, I watch him through how he was so studious with his studies. In my house, the only thing that makes sense is either you're studying or you're praying. If you're not doing any of the two, you're tagged as a very lazy and an idle person. So there's no place, there's no place to run to. My other sister had a PhD too, and she has a PhD as well. And so
Wow.
it's yeah, my younger sister, she's also doing a master's gradually. So it's really inspiring thing for me to be in an academic family where they place so much premium understanding on being educated. And my dad used to tell me that the least you're bringing to this house, Joshua, is a PhD. I have a
Mm.
PhD, so the least you bring to this house is PhD, and the Lord is going to help you. And He stood with us to put us through. It is interesting that my dad happens to be the one who taught me mathematics and some basic sciences when I was doing my sciences, even though he's not a science major. Yeah, and then my elder sister as well. But they were actually the foundation for me being inspired to give out. And I feel like educational platform, it's a way of educating minds and reaching out to people, especially minds that are still coming up. So it's really a plus for me to come from that kind of family, and I thank God for that. Yeah.
So if not education, what else will you see yourself doing in life?
Right. Thank you so much for that question. Yeah. So I've asked myself many times what I would have done apart from academics, and I realized that I would have been an entrepreneur. I would have been a businessman because I also learned that from my parents. Back when we were still coming up and pretty young, my dad had a business center where it was more or less like typesetting. We had those very big computers and those big photocopying machine, and he didn't employ anyone. We were his staff, myself and my sister, who were the one
Wow.
working, and it was really a little bit stressful to us. In fact, that was what helped my computer literacy. It wasn't that easy, but that was how we got to know a whole lot about computing and typesetting and all of those, formatting and all of those. So yeah, I would have gone into business, and preferably I would have done more of a service aided business more than a product aided business, because I know business varies from point to point. Yeah. So
Yes, you're right.
yeah, so that's what I will have done actually. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Wow. But these days looking at academic environment is a very busy environment actually, but
Right.
also it gives you some time for you to look at other things in terms of combination of we are it's not like 8 to 4:30 or 4 o'clock kind of activity, but despite that one can always be in the lab, one can always be um before in the workplace virtually or on site writing, researching and those kind of things. So but don't you think that also being a business person can also work being an academy?
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I studied the course I studied, industrial chemistry,
Mm,
in my undergraduate. Because when I think chemistry, I think industry. How
okay.
can this thing be sellable? how can you commercialize this commodity? And it's part of one of the reasons that drove my focus on what I'm researching on. And of course, I got a patent from
Mm.
my work during my PhD, and
Wow.
really willing and waiting to see how I will be able to commercialize and sell this technique on the industrial level. So honestly, it's something I really desire. I've been doing it underground where I do a private consultation for people because I'm a water expert. Okay, this water we
Okay.
can work about it this way, and then yeah, I get my cool money from there. Although not too blown, but as a water expert, I try to use that to educate people on what they need to do, and then I get paid for it. So it's something I look forward to, and I have people who are witnesses in this field. My former Professor Hilonga is, I would say, is one of the best professor in nanotechnology in Tanzania, and he
Okay.
holds a very big state-of-the-art hotel in the heart of Arusha. And he also
Wow.
has made a lot of water producing industries where he purifies water using his own academic skills, and it has got across several East African countries. And it's such an inspiration for me as well. And also coming here, getting to meet with people as well, and Prof Esther, also seeing that she's quite a very creative person. She's my current promoter. She's quite a very creative person, and yeah, so it's really an inspiration for me to say yes, I can actually do business while I'm doing academics, and I'm really looking forward to it to make it a full blown thing. But currently, I'm trusting God to go into agriculture. Yeah, it's
Wow.
a completely different field, but of course, it's something I really want to look into, go into agriculture, food production, and animal rearing. And that would also be another source of generating income and also providing a source of employment opportunities to, people around in my country. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 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 please. That is very interesting that you're already thinking towards that. And looking at you had your PhD in 2025, this 2026, and you're already having this kind of master plan. That is quite interesting. So let's tell us something about the why agriculture? Why not um within your field of study in terms of your expertise in terms of water and yeah, why
All right.
agriculture?
Yeah. Thank you so much. So here is it. Right from time, I've always been the agriculture person because I believe so much in production of food,
Yes,
and I realize that one of the cardinals in human needs is food. If food is taken care of, that settles it. And food can never production of food can never be outdated because everybody will always need food some way somehow.
exactly,
So
exactly.
when I was very young, it all started when I was very very young, and then I was given a local chicken to keep, and it was playing truancy, and eventually they had to kill it and feed on it, and then I was so sad because I was I built the house myself for the chicken, gave the
Yeah,
chicken its facility, and so my elder sister had to give me her own because she doesn't really like animal rearing, so just go do it. And you could believe that for years I kept that chicken onto a point where I started having so many of it
yeah,
just from one, and that reduces the cost of us going out to buy meat just in case we need meat or want to have a festive season. So it all starts from that day, that idea, and then having to come also from a family. My grandfather happened to be a notable agricultural man with hectares of land in
wow,
Osun State, and he has been into cocoa plantation, cassava, and I see how if we can go into a mechanized setting, this is going to go a long way to help boost the economy. So yeah, that is one side, and the other part, which is what you said, in my own field, is to go into water and wastewater treatment. I've been working side by side with some industries back in Tanzania to help develop and also advise them on what they can do to get a very better and efficient treatment for their wastewater treatment plants and water treatment plants. But then the challenge there is that most of these industries would want to hear from you, but the remuneration is very low.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
so I just realized the only way is that when you own your own firm, consulting firm, where people can get to consult with you on water and wastewater treatment technique and strategies, and it is your own organization, that is going to go a long way. So how do you fund your organization? You have to have a side hustle. So
Exactly.
going into agriculture, that will also be a very good side hustle to help put capital into that establishment. Yeah,
Yeah, good, because when you look at Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, there's always the issue of water.
absolutely,
Water is everywhere, but water is scarce. And
absolutely.
water is everywhere, but when it comes to usable water, that's when you can know that no, water everywhere is not, it's not water. There is limits we can go. And I believe investing in water treatment and water supply and everything we definitely bridge that very gap in terms of scarcity of the commodity in the society and everything. Yeah, we look forward to that when all these ideas and everything will come to fruition to solve our basic human and social problem. Yeah, that is quite interesting. We look forward to that. So, but looking at all these things, now the um being a PhD holder or being a degree holder, master's degree holder, do not really make it that someone should be an academia. So in general, what can you say that inspired you to say, okay, fine, I have had my PhD, I had my master before PhD, but let me stick to academic industry.
All right. So, one of the things that inspires me is knowledge transfer. You've
Okay.
said it rightly well, sir, about, as a matter of fact, I've met with so many PhD holders whom I wouldn't say I would like to take after them, to be honest. They are senior and they are very respected in their field, but then they are not flexible, and more often than not, there is no knowledge transfer that one can adduce to them. But then I've seen a few that their level of knowledge transfer has really inspired the community. And just like what the late Nelson Mandela would say, education is powerful. When you give education to a community, it revolutionizes their mind. It affects their thinking system. And I saw that especially in my both parents when my mother was teaching, and when my father still been in the system as a lecturer in the University of Ilorin. And then I see the
Wow.
way he transfers knowledge. He actually is an expert in Greek. My eldest sister majored in Hebrew. They are both of them are theologians, and I
Wow.
see the way he teach with so much passion and capacity. And I remember I realized that before he came into the system, a lot of students have been failing that course before, and they've been so scared of it because it's a very tough course. And when he
Okay.
came in, there was a way he simplified it, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so inspired by it. And I knew that chemistry, which is my own major, is also very abstract and volatile. So how can I simplify it using real life situation to help communicate these ideas to people in a way that can help upgrade their mind? So my main motivation is knowledge transfer. I feel so fulfilled and I feel so satisfied when I have something I've learned and I share with people. It makes me learn more, and it makes me to also know that I'm contributing my own quota in enlightening a mind, enlightening a generation. So way back when I was in Futa, I went to Federal University of Technology, Akure, back in my undergrad and my masters, and I started taking tutorials in my church from when I was in 100 level. I was taking chemistry tutorial for 100 level
Wow.
student, and I was also in 100 level, and I was not getting any pay for it. It was free. That was part of my way of communicating the ideas I had, and I was feeling very fulfilled, doing that, communicating ideas, and also getting to learn more. Some of the mistakes to also get better, and it also helped my skill in public speaking. Getting to meet with people also helped my confidence level. So really, my main motivation is knowledge transfer, and when knowledge is well transferred, it help a community and it help industrial revolution. Yeah,
Wow. Um, that's quite interesting. And again, looking at chemistry today, when it comes to one of the science subjects, chemistry is not is what many people can tell you any day, anytime that they don't like.
yeah.
And what we just said right now, that knowledge transfer, how have you how have you how you have managed to be able to transfer this knowledge of chemistry, to simplify it, so that people who feel like look at it as a very healthy subject or module fell in love with it.
Yes, I started by first coming out of my pain, because
Okay.
when I was in secondary school, I have one of the most horrible chemistry teacher.
Okay.
Very horrible. And I could remember a lot of my colleagues had to practically leave science class because of this person, and simply because he was not patient enough. And I just feel like, is chemistry this difficult? I mean, but then I still, while still in that secondary school, I met another person who was so patient and taught chemistry from an applied standpoint. That was when I realized that when you teach chemistry from an abstract standpoint, you would
Okay.
not see the need. We can't see hydrogen with our eyes. So,
Okay.
how can people relate with what they cannot see? The best way is to engage their imagination efficiently and effectively, and using life based or nature based examples. And of course, to be patient. So I don't mind. I always tell my students, you have every right to ask me as many questions as possible. That's why I'm here. I learned that code
Mhm.
from my father. All right. If you have known it all, you wouldn't be here. You didn't know
Exactly.
it. That's why you are here. So I'm here to also help you understand it better and in the most simplistic way. So chemistry itself is volatile. I used to tell them and I used to give them that disclaimer. So if you read it now and everything just move out of your head, it's not a big deal. It happens to me. I struggled. My first grade in chemistry was a D. It was so poor.
Okay.
If anyone will believe I studied chemistry today, they'll be like, no, it's not possible. But it is
Wow.
doable if we are patient, if we are willing to learn and don't hate the course, because chemistry doesn't care. I used to tell people
Yes.
the course doesn't really care about whether you hate it or you like it. It will always be like that. So it's all about the
Exactly.
person who handles it and how you also take it from your heart. So I had to tell myself, Joshua, you are a science, and the core of science is chemistry. There's no way you're going to avoid this. So you have to start learning it and open your heart to the applied examples. So for me, when I started taking the advanced level students back in my country, a couple of them, I think I had one who just became a nurse recently from Russia, and I was so excited about her. She's one of
Wow.
my products, and
Congratulations.
I, I always tell them that it's difficult, yes, but it is doable. First, understand this theory, this postulation, this experiment, this law are propounded by human beings. They are humanoid species, not someone from the space or from another realm. So it means if a human propound this theory, human is meant for human to understand. All right. So just have that at the back of your mind first. And secondly, when we talk about, for instance, if I talk about bonding, which is one of the most abstract thing in chemistry, I like to use natural examples. Sometimes I go as far as being a little bit dramatic for them to be able to have that understanding. Just in case you're in the
Sure.
example and you don't remember the definition, the drama I put up in the class can help you go back on the definition, because I learned that people get to understand more on the visual basics than when you just give them notes to read and that's all. And if
Exactly.
you can watch a movie and you can recall a movie of 2 hours, then there's nothing wrong with your brain. It's just because
Exactly.
of the way you need to put them. So for me, I use applied examples, take a lot of patience. Of course, there are challenges where some student can be very funny, but then I take my time, take my patience to take them through. And at the end of the day, I make them see that it looks difficult. The most difficult question is actually the most simplest question. It's simply because you don't understand the technique behind it. And that's
Yeah.
why it looks so difficult. So if you're patient and you're willing to learn and you get it done, you'll be good. So here I am today, who never had a good background in chemistry at start, but now I'm an expert in chemistry. So if that can happen to me, then it can happen to anyone. So that's my drive. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, your experience is a really exemplary experience for many. I can tell you that uh your fears, your challenge is what many people who was not able to do chemistry, who run away from chemistry, and not just chemistry, other science subject, any other subject, whether science or arts or commerce or whatever, that fear And also it also boils down to the person handling that very subject or that very module. But one of the take home from what you just said right now is that be patient, because people have the phobia for this cause. Don't also terrify them by being hostile, by being impatient. Understand that this chemistry, for example, people have that kind of fear about chemistry. So how do you terrify them with your own hostility? That
Absolutely.
will not work. I
Yeah.
can I can I can tell you for free, your experience is also what I had about chemistry back then.
Mm.
Like about you being the chemistry
Yes.
our chemistry textbook back then. But people like me ran away from that because of the teacher that was teaching it.
Mm, mm,
We have a phobia about this module, this course, and we come to class. Instead of you to simplify it, make it friendly to us, you become a master, a lord over us. Some of us
mm,
say, okay, no, this is not for us. Let's look for something else. So and I think everyone watching this video, watching this recording, watching this should know, as a teacher, as a lecturer, no matter the module you are handling, please be patient with your student. If they
absolutely.
know it, they won't be in your class. Because they
Absolutely.
don't know it, that's why they register for that very module.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
understand them that they don't know these things. So try to simplify the content to the level of their understanding. By so doing, you will see an increase
Mm,
and in that very particular module. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. And I
thank you
believe
so
that
much.
this will inspire a lot of people in making a U-turn in handling their modules, whether soft or difficult, no matter the kind of module they are doing.
Mm.
So that also looking at your experience and your so far in academia, what can you what one or two highlights you can say that this is the highlight of your career, that when you see, you say to yourself, yes, I'm in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so first of all, I would love to use this word, the path of the righteous is ordered by the Lord, because I remember I got two opportunities, one to study my PhD in Tanzania and to also study in the US. And
Mm,
a normal person will say, oh, let's go to the US. I mean, that's where a lot of things happen. But I thank God that I made Tanzania my option, because from
okay.
there I was able to visit a whole lot of places around the globe, Asia, Europe, and couple of countries. And I work with one of the best hands, my profs back in the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology. Just like what I said previously, they were very patient and they were so full of inspiration. And that was what inspired me to have 10 publications from my PhD and one
Wow.
patent. Yes. I
Wow.
had 10
Wow.
publications from my PhD, and then I had one
Congratulations.
patent. And it was it was a great thing of joy for me, because it wasn't easy though. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. But I had supervisors who were so inspiring to me. One of them happens to be Professor Hilonga, and then the other one, Professor Revocatus Machunda. They used to ask me, how many papers will you be giving us? You look pretty smart, so the sky is your limit. Just keep pushing. So each time I go, even when I am down, there's this way they speak to me, confidence, strength, and assurance, and it makes me to go back to the ground and keep working again. And when I went to the University of Ghent, and that's where I did my sandwich in Belgium. And I also had a very amazing promoter, Professor Steen Van Hula. He was such an inspiration. Yeah, I was more or less like the only African guy in the research group,
Wow.
where we have a lot of Chinese and people from Belgium, but it was an amazing environment to work with. And at the end of the day, I would look back and say, yeah, I had this, and not from an intimidating standpoint, because most times I like to hide my thesis, from folks who are still coming on board. Like, don't put yourself under pressure. Make sure you are stretching yourself beyond your limit by the grace of God. So it is by the grace of God I have that. And then another thing is, still during that my PhD, I had an academic mentor in South Africa, Dr. Adeyemi, who was also someone that contributed immensely to my skill in writing. And
Okay.
during this period, we had 9 papers together. He was always
Wow.
pushing me here and there, here and there. So during my PhD, I was able to work on 19 papers, led 10, and I also co-published 9 as well altogether. So it wasn't easy, But then it was one of the things that actually I would say I'm thankful to God for, and I'm still keeping that relationship and collaboration with them. And as a result of that, another thing I would thank God for was the multiple grants I was awarded. Yeah, I got awards, but then I got a lot of grants
Wow.
that helped me. And those grants came at the time when I needed to explore cutting across different field of material science and engineering. So it really helped me got my funding from various funding bodies, and that was as a result of the inspiration I also got from these mentors. So really, it's something I would say I'm very thankful to God for, and above all, my people back at home who have always been the source of great encouragement for me, specifically my wife and others, even when I'm down. Like, Joshua, keep pushing it. Someone asked me that, you don't have issues with the reviewers' comments. You have not had a rejection of paper before. So you're just a very, and I'm like, really? Maybe I need to show you my mail. I've had tons of rejection, tons of it, such that I even know the first two lines when the paper is being rejected or when your application is being rejected. But what do we do when we have been rejected matters a lot, whether we're a
Yeah.
defeated person or we are having the mindset of a conqueror. So really, that's those two basic things I would really thank God for, and I'm so grateful. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations. Wow. Please tell us more about this because having 10 publications from your PhD and another 19 within a space of how many years?
4 years.
19 papers in 4 years. How did you do it? How
Yeah,
did
so it was not, honestly, it was not easy. I wouldn't say it was. I started out by writing a review paper. I never knew a review paper was very hectic, very,
you?
very hectic. Yeah, my first was, publishing in Scientific Africa. That was ACwJ journal, and it was really hectic for me. But then I think one of the things that help a student's prolificity is when he's in a non-toxic environment,
Okay.
an environment that encourages.
Yeah.
Many of all these our students can actually do a whole lot. All right. But then the kind of environment they find themselves is limiting their productivity. So I remember writing that first paper, and then when I submitted to my prof, I've exhausted all I could. He was like, "Okay, Joshua, I'm going to read it and get back to you." And they were so fast, and they
Mm-hmm.
gave me heavy tons of comments. And when I
Mm.
was done putting them in order, I submitted it to Scientific Africa, and then when the review came back, it came back with major revision. And I remember I had almost like 4 to 5 pages of comments from different
Wow.
reviewers. I'm like, God, how am I going to go about this? At the end of the day, a page number of 55, when I no 41 or something, when I revised, it was around 73 pages after
Mm.
revising and putting those comments. But then when I submitted it back, it was accepted for publication. So it really was an encouragement for me. But as soon as I'm done with one, I pick up another one. So
Yeah.
first, I got a lot of inspiration when I'm taking my shower in the bedroom. Actually,
Okay.
I love to sing and then pray. And when those kind of things happen, I'll just get an inspiration of, okay, can you put up this topic from this um, data you have? And most times I sleep very late in the lab.
Okay.
I would be very honest. Was my health affected at some point? Yes, it was. It was really, really affected. But then as I was finishing one, as it's going out, I'm picking the other one. I'm not just waiting until I have, comment from reviewers and everything. And it is a very strategic work. As I'm working on my data, when I'm done in the lab, as I'm going back to my house, I'm analyzing those data immediately so that I don't mobile up my data. And
Yeah.
those are the things that helped me. And I love taking up challenge. That's one of the things that my father personally and my parent taught me. Because when my parent married, um, my dad never had the first degree. They just married, trusting the Lord to have their first degree. And they took
Okay.
up the challenge, had his first degree, second degree, and his PhD. So it was really an inspiration for me that, Joshua, there's actually nothing difficult except what you don't want to do. All right.
Exactly.
But with the help of the Lord and with grace from God, from Jesus, you can always push beyond your limitation. So that's all I always tell people who are graduate students. Try and push beyond your limitation. In my campus, you need to have 10 graduate seminars, your thesis, and then 3 articles, one review and two experimental base. And I told myself that by the help of God, I will push beyond these borders. I don't know how many I was going to have, but I knew I was going to have some. And at the end of the day, I end up producing 10 publications and one patent. So really, it was a big win for me. And that was it all the way, sir.
Wow. No, congratulations. I really feel inspired and with your experience, and I believe a lot of people will find it very interesting. And then from not just publications, you talked about you have a one patent in your PhD. Can you tell us more about it? Because I
Yes,
believe that's part of your highest achievement in your
absolutely.
PhD.
Absolutely. I would consider
And
it, in fact, one of my
how did you do
highest.
it? How did you
One
achieve
of
it?
my highest, because yeah, writing articles I know how to write, but patents no, because it's completely different.
Okay.
It's so legalistic, and it's a legal document, and you will have to meet with a patent attorney.
Wow.
And it was a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No, you don't write patent like this. This is like paper. You write it this way. This is how patent is written. And so it was my first. So it was very challenging. At some point, I was done and tired because my work was on commercializing the catalyst that I produce. Because that catalyst, if you have a water from
Okay.
textile industries that
Okay.
is polluted with dye. When you add just a pinch of that catalyst into it and you just leave it out in the sun, by the time you come back, you have your water as clear as this. And
Wow.
the only thing you have in settling down is just your catalyst, and you can recover it and reuse it again.
Okay.
Because one of my inspiration to that is because textile industries is one of the largest employer of labor, but
Okay.
then they have heavy amounts of wastewater being discharged into the community. So
Okay.
how do we preserve the integrity of this industry while also preserving the immediate ecosystem? So
Yeah.
my answer to that is creating a rapid and highly efficient catalyst that can work on that green energy system. We have a lot of solar energy in the African context. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of using another energy to generate it, can we use just the bare sunlight and then we get our product? So I fabricated a reactor that can be used for the treatment of these wastewater
Okay.
from the industries, and then tested it with some of the effluents that I got from industry here when I was in Tanzania and also when I was in Belgium. And I was so excited because it worked and it was so efficient. And I look at the water, I'm like, wow, this is so clear. I mean, it could be reused and that would help and enhance circular economy. So yeah, that was how it all went. I had a challenge of getting to, wait, do a lot of vetting and working on my document, my patent document, and then I had to be warned, okay, you must not disclose this technology. This is the ethics behind this. This is that. I'm like, okay. It's a new grant for me, but yeah, I thank God I was able to pull through with the help of my patent attorney, my campus in Tanzania, and of course my supervisor as well. So, and at the end of the day, it took almost quite some months, many months, but at the end of the
Wow.
day, I was awarded, yeah, the patent. Yeah,
Congratulations. Congratulations.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
honestly, because one of the challenge academians are facing is to migrate from paper to actual product. And
Absolutely.
you have managed to prove it that is possible to get something out of your publication, out of your research work, field work, lab work, and so on and so forth. No, I must say it again. Congratulations, and everyone will be happy to hear more on that. And I believe we're gonna have other discussions towards on how to achieve that for other people to learn
Yeah,
how they can be able to patent their work and work towards patenting their work. So in
correct.
all these things, your academic life, your pastoral life, your social life, how are you able to balance them? Do you have a hobby? Let me put
Yes,
it
I
like that.
do. I do have a hobby. I'm actually, I came here with my soccer boots. I play football, and
Wow.
yeah, I play football. I actually came to South Africa even with my soccer boots, and just because of my schedule. But one of these days, I would still need to, join to get to at least skip fit a little bit. So I love playing football.
Mm,
Yes, I love playing football. That's been my one of my favorite hobby, and of course, going out to see a movie once a while, a Netflix movie, yeah, just to cool off sometimes. I believe as a researcher we need this. Just stay away from the space of academics, and then revamp yourself with some of these social activities. And when you're back, you can refire. So yes, I actually do have that, yeah, as an hobby
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite interesting because oftentimes there's a general saying that academians do not have a life. They don't have a life. They are only focused in their research, in their this, in their that, in the teaching and learning and all that. But at least you're able to prove it that you can always balance it by
Absolutely.
structuring out things, and that's how you can have a life apart from being an academic.
Mm,
But in all these things, I believe that you have had some challenges
yes.
um, throughout in the journey of your studies and being academia. Please, can you
Yeah.
quickly share with us so that for your students, for emerging scholars, for academians, those kind of challenges and how they can be able to address them, to maneuver them, to mitigate them. Yeah.
All right. So my first, sir, will happen to be academic environment can sometimes be egocentric and also selfish.
Okay.
Selfish in the sense that you know people want to monopolize knowledge, and there is no monopoly of knowledge anywhere. I
Okay.
tell people, right? So in that context, there are a lot of people that will be very toxic, both those who are even high up there, that they may want to muscle you, try to say, you are running too fast, can you just slow down, or try to use their influence to slow you down. All
Okay.
right. So it
Yes.
happens. It's one thing I found out. It could be egocentric. So as a student, one of the things I would strongly recommend for students and for emerging scientists like myself and others is that first you need to learn how to. It's not good to walk alone, but most times you'll be walking alone. That's the truth. If I'll be
Mm-hmm.
very factual, learning to walk alone, and also be very intentional in choosing your niche, the kind of people that you will collaborate with. Because
Okay.
in academics, I've met with users. I've actually met with users. I've met with narcissists that, um, in fact, I've met with them on publication. I would not forget one of a publishing outlet that wanted me to write a paper for them, and I will put the name of one of their boss as the main author and the corresponding author, and I will
Wow.
do the writing. That was very cruel. I've never seen that before, but it happens.
Wow.
So we have narcissists, we have users, and we have people who will bully you in the path of, especially when they say that, oh, this one is young. I mean, someone says that, why you hurrying? I mean, when I was like you, I didn't have all of these. So why the rush? I mean, you don't need to use that statement. I'm not you. All right, I'm not you.
Yes.
And you should be excited that okay, at a very young and a very younger age, I'm doing a lot of things. I'm excited when I see people who are doing way better than me. It's joy for me, and it's Christianly. That's the way we are raised in Christian faith. So
Yes.
it's something that I would say that it's a reality in sciences. I do have someone, I can't consider the person a friend, but this guy sees me as a very unhealthy competitor with him. Back when I was doing
Wow.
my PhD, and it's such that if you go to him for anything, he hoards information from you. But if he needs you, he will come all after you. So it's a reality that happens even among ourselves as peers, and when you are dealing with people high up there. So that is number one. Number two that I would say is that there's a lot of bureaucracy in academics, honestly.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
why I tell people that if you maybe you write and to apply for a grant or something. Yes, I know everybody wants to be fair and biased, but there's still a little bit of unbiasedness in many people's sense of judgment. And so when you are rejected, maybe you write for a grant or a proposal and it is rejected, don't just feel like, oh, I'm not productive. Why not try another outlet?
Okay.
Revamp it, rework on it again, and push it somewhere. I've seen people submitting articles to places of high impact factor and it was rejected. And the work is very good. And here is the
Yes.
same article having a paper published that it's not even good for that impact factor. And then you will see that this is clearly a bureaucracy here. So I reviewed a paper recently where it was from a Springer journal. And when I looked through it, I'm like, okay, I saw a little bit of technicalities here, and I could not just do another thing than to just reject that article, because I know that
Mm,
there's a little bit of malicious intent in this, and it will
mm,
stain my own integrity as an academic person. So these are actually realities in academics. There is bureaucracy in academics, there's politics in academics, and then there's ego in academics. That's the truth. But then all of these things we must never, as an upcoming one, and even when we are there, we must never have them. There is no end to learning. There is no end to learning. That's what I tell people. So they should be
exactly.
prepared to get that. And lastly, they should also be prepared for intimidation.
Mm,
Personally, I don't like, I except for people that are very close to me, I don't like sharing my CV with people. And because I'm a little bit skeptical how you will take it. I don't want you to be intimidated by my success. Thank
mm-hmm.
God for my success, but can I also encourage you to become successful as well? There is no need
Yeah.
to create any premise of intimidation. All right. When I got to meet with you, sir, and one of my friends was telling me, "Oh, here is Prof. Joshua." I'm like, "Wow!" So I quickly went to spy on you a little bit, check your profile. I'm like, "Wow, wow, amazing!" Previously, I was so excited about it. I'm like, "Okay, I am Dr. Joshua, and I have Professor Joshua, so." Where he is now is something for me that I'm also looking up to. I'm trusting God to be there someday, somehow, and
Thank you.
it's a
Thank
joy
you.
for me and it's an inspiration. But then, not I love the simplistic part, and that's also one of the things I also saw in my promoter as well. That really gave me so much respect for her. You can be simple and yet you're achieving a whole lot without intimidating the ones coming behind. So
Great.
intimidation is real. It will come. You just have to develop a thick skin against intimidation. Thank you.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I, I never knew I'm gonna come into this, but I really appreciate. But honestly, what the challenges you talked about are really a very big challenge for many people in academia, and mostly for the younger ones. But in all things, let's be real. Let's not compete against each other, but let's compete for excellency,
That's right, sir.
to be great, not to pulling who to put down, PhD, put him or put her down. But let's compete to be greater people, learning from each other, to be not to compete against, but to be great and to be excellent in
Mm,
what we do. And I believe many people we associate their challenge with what you just said right now,
yes.
and they will learn a lot. So in winding down this discussion, because if we allow it's gonna continue, but please, you're gonna promise we're gonna have a part two and part three of this, because there's a lot we need to
All right.
we need to unearth from your achievement, from your academic journey. Please, you're gonna give us more of your time into the future on some of these things which we're gonna talk about it. But now, today, the world is now changing, and
Right.
changing rapidly, academic environment, higher education, because of this one technology that been talked about, AI. What is your
Mm,
view and your advice for academians, younger one students, and what have you?
all right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prof, for raising that. It's very important we talk about it in every aspect. The first thing I would say is that AI has come to stay, and AI should not be a substitute to human intelligence. I would
Yeah.
first say that as a foundation. The intelligence of man can never be undermined by AI. AI has its own. As a matter of fact, AI is learning from
Amen.
humanoid
Yeah.
species. So um but then the problem where many upcoming scholars see is that when you become overly dependent on AI, you don't stretch your intelligence, and when you don't stretch your intelligence, you don't get better. So,
Yes.
and then at the end of the day, you will just discover that what you are having is more of AI stuff, and you don't even have you don't have that roots inside your own expertise. You are not talking cognitively as a scientist. So AI
Mm-hmm.
has come to stay, but there is an ethical way of using AI in anything we want to do. I do encourage the use of AI. I mean, the list of it is the Grammarly that we're using. It's very interesting and it's cool. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Very cool. I do have a friend who came from a country where they speak French, and he did his master's in an Anglophone country where they speak English. It was very tough, But thanks to God, I also came in the picture. And then we also used Grammarly to help revamp and correct certain typos just to put the English in the right context. So
Mm-hmm.
AI has come to stay, but if we want to use it, let's use it ethically. And when we use it ethically, let it be not a substitute to our intelligence. Let it not be a substitute to our reasoning, but let us still stretch our reasoning. Let's work with our reasoning as though there is no AI. And when we are using AI, let's use it as a complement, not to compete with our intelligence or to undermine our intelligence. So that's what I would say. AI has come to stay. People should use AI. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I recently was telling someone how they use um automated system to conduct a surgery on someone, and the surgery
Mm-hmm.
that will have taken place for hours, within few minutes it was done. That's the power of AI and an automated system. It's brilliant. I
Yeah.
love it, and I'm an advocate of the use of AI. I am an advocate of it, but from an ethical standpoint. And one should know that our brain still remains our major pool of wisdom and not AI. Thank you.
It should be used ethically, not a substitute for human intelligent human brain.
Yeah.
Because because today, um um we're able to do what we're doing right now because of technology. We can't say because the distance, we can't do it again, but we're still going to do what. So it's there, these technologies are there for us to enable us to do better than what we have been doing. So, and that is a take-home message from our doctor this morning, this moment. And uh, and uh, without delaying or taking much of your time, in parting shot, what can you say to every academia, to everyone watching this video, in your conclusion?
All right. In conclusion, I would say this. It's a principle in the scripture. Whatsoever your hand finds doing, do it with the whole of your heart. Do it diligently, and in fact, do it as unto the Lord. The reason why Corona came was because we have some scientists who have no fear of the Lord in their hearts. Because science is for humanity, not the other way around. So whatever
Mhm.
you do, do it with the whole of your heart, and do it with the deposit of God's fear inside of you. When that happens, you will be successful, and not just be successful alone, you will influence the quality of human life, because that is the hallmark of science and scientific activity. So please do it with the whole of your heart, do it as unto the Lord, and do it with the fear of God in your heart.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua Oyetade, for your great, inspiring experience, words, and I believe that it inspires me a lot. I must confess, I really
Thank you.
appreciate, because knowledge is boundless. We learn from the day we are born till we die, and for that purpose, I really appreciate your time, your effort, and hope to see you again. And viewers, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video, and then subscribe. Much more, you are welcome to contact us, so that we can have also this kind of engagement with you. Thank you so much, my doctor. I
Thank you,
really
bro.
and I hope to see you again in other discussions, in other, because from what